Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my Atakline for this Monday, May 11th, 2016. I haven't made an Atakline in a while. They make one Monday because I was on my way to the Ring of Honor New Japan Pro Wrestling event that happened this past Monday at the Billboard for Community Arts Center. That was awesome. So now I'm back with Atakline. Let's kick things off with a lot of news that's happened the last couple of days, starting with your number ones. First things first. Number one movie time, as many expected. Big opening for the Captain America movie. Civil War debuting with $179 million the first week. Let's see if it has a big drop off like the Superman versus Batman movie. But Captain America, great debut. Oh, it made more in 5 days than Superman and Batman made. So at least that's got potential for him. I bet you'll be number one again this week. The only big competition is the Money Monster movie with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. It looks okay, a little interesting movie they're putting out, but I think Civil War will retain number one movie. But they'll probably be kicked off the next week either by Angry Birds, Neighbors 2, or Nice Guys. I say Angry Birds movie in 2 weeks. Next week, not this week. So there you go, you have still a new number one movie with Captain America and the 3-week reign of Jungle Book. But we have a new number one album and new number one single across the board in the Billboard charts. They're both by the same artist. Drake. Big week for him. Views for the 6. Debuts at number one in the Billboard charts with 852,000 copies of traditional sales of albums. Total sales, including streaming, 1.4 million album units sold with, like I said, 802,000 traditional albums sold. Streaming records was also broken. Personal best for Drake when it comes to album sales, but the songs were streamed 245 million times during the tracking week. Biggest streaming week ever for an artist. So while Drake's number one album, like I said, he's also number one single. First time ever as a lead artist. He's been number one on collaborative songs, including more recently worked with Rihanna. And now he's got his first number one lead single. It's One Dance. Kicking off Designer after 2 weeks. Bringing back the Foreigners back to the number one single. Because Designer was the first American to be number one in almost a year. But now the Foreigners are taking over again with the Canadian being your number one single. And also your album. Congrats to Drake. Big week for him. Big number one singles for him. And single too. Album. Number one single and album. So there you go. Now on some news. A lot of Prince related news. It's been big. Got some more. Well, they have showed you the. I don't know if I showed you. I think I showed you the time and the people one that I got. Good shots. Still, shame people for putting an ad back of their commemorative. But good back for the time. I think Time did a better job than Newsweek. So did people. I did like Newsweek's tribute commemorative. Still waiting on the Rolling Stone magazine. Some good shots there. The people one too. And I got my Billboard magazine. Like this is a party and parties were met. The only magazine with a lyric to a Prince song on the cover. So I just got this Monday. I'm getting a newspaper from Minnesota. I also got Entertainment Weekly a couple days ago too. Love the symbol on the E. So, speaking of Billboard, Billboard Music Awards announced today that there will be a Prince tribute at the award show. And to conduct that tribute, no, not Sheila E. Not Morris Day. Madonna will be conducting a Prince tribute. There is no details on what the tribute will consist of, whether it's a speech or a performance, but it kind of makes sense for a lot of points. Obviously, if they can't get Sheila E. or Morris Day at a time, which will probably say for the BET Awards, think of another mainstream artist that's had a little bit of a relationship to Prince. They did have a relationship at one point. They did date a little bit, and wrote together too. Of course, famously, the only collaboration that was publicly released was Love Song, Unlike a Prayer. And Madonna was also in talks to be a Graffiti Bridge at one point, but she didn't like the script. And also, she did the Michael Jackson speech at the VMAs back in 2009. So it makes sense for Madonna to do a Prince thing. They're both the same year, and they did have a relationship, business and personal. Professionally and personally. If it's just a speech or a performance isn't intact, like here's what could happen. Madonna could do a speech, and then have a performance after it from somebody else, like they did with the Michael Jackson thing. Like she kicked off the tribute with a speech, and they did like that whole entire Michael Jackson Mega Mix dance medley, which like the Janet Jackson coming out to do Scream. That was awesome tribute, by the way. So we'll do that for Prince. We'll see. But Madonna will be part of a Prince tribute that will take place at the Billboard Awards on May 22nd. That means I have to record it. Because I'm watching a rest of pay-per-view that night. I'm recording it for sure. I got DVR. A lot of Prince things, about his death, but the investigation continues about a doctor being investigated. The thing, it's a whole Conrad Murray thing again, that a doctor killed Prince. Like, exactly like Michael. When I made a video about Michael dying, about Prince dying, should I say, I said there's a lot of sick, weird comparisons to Michael's death and Prince's death. They both died on Thursdays. They both died suddenly. 1 second they're alive, 1 second they're not. Or in Prince's case, it was 1 second there's a found body and dead body and Paisley Park. The next second it's Prince. It also could be more eerie if it is a doctor killed Prince. I don't want to go into that. I want to think about the good things. The music. And I love both guys. I'm a big fan of both Prince and Michael's. And Michael's death hit me hard because I was hoping to see him. He was making his comeback. But I think a lot of people would agree that Prince's death is hitting me harder because Prince was active. Michael wasn't active. He was trying to make a comeback. We're all rooting for him now. But he did make the ultimate comeback in death than in alive. But Prince was still active. So that's why his death is hitting me and a lot of other people harder than with Michael's death. Despite being huge Michael fans. So there you go. Some Prince-related things, especially the tribute to him, would take place during the Billboard Awards to be honored by Madonna. Now, speaking of Billboard, woman who probably won a lot of Billboard, at least, but nominated, Meghan Trainor. A lot of interesting news about Meghan Trainor the last couple of days involving a topic she spoke out against on her hit single, All About That Bass. Seeing the magazine through all that Photoshop, that shit ain't real. Make it stop. Well, she was the victim of a Photoshop tragedy. She premiered her video, Me Too, her second single from her Thank You album coming out this Friday. No, it's the first single, and that's the one what I say about this song. No, I don't like it. It's okay. I don't play it. Because it's more sexier than anything she's done. But Me Too's funkier. Me Too's awesomer. The song's great, and the video's fun too. With the onesie and like a day in the life of Meghan Trainor. But one scene got a lot of people pissed off, including Meghan. Her waist was chopped down to make her waist look skinnier. She spoke out against it, saying that she didn't ask to Photoshop peach fuzz and stuff and remove any facial hair, but she said, I didn't say anything about cutting off my whip. She took down the video on Monday, posted a Snapchat about it, and spoke about the controversy on both Howard Stern's show yesterday and on Watch What Happens with Andy Cohen on Bravo on Monday. The video was removed and went back up yesterday morning, Photoshop free. So, there you go. There's a little bit of controversy involving Photoshop. And there was a big... I didn't notice the difference. Fans were sending Meghan screenshots. She thought fans were messing with her. But then she realized it was her actual video. Not her fans doing it. So there you go. Glad all's well that ends well with this whole Photoshop thing. Now, unripped news about AC/DC. Of course, this past weekend, the highly anticipated first show with Axl Rose took place in Lisbon, Portugal. As Axl would take the spot of Brian Johnson for the European leg of the Waco Bus Tour and also the American dates. Anything past that, who knows? I hope they end it after this. I don't think they should have gone on without Brian Johnson. But I did see the clips, and Axl sounds okay. You know, he sounded decent on some songs, but it's still not the same. I hope they go with this tour and go to US tour, but then end the band after it. Unless Brian Johnson does make a comeback, especially if he's trying to find a way to salvage his career because of his hearing loss issues. Well, last week, an inventor of a hearing solution, Steve Ambrose, posted a video with a message to Brian Johnson to solve his hearing issues to bring him back on stage. An in-ear monitor developed by Azus Technologies. They created an in-ear monitor called the Ambrose Diaphonic Ear Lens, ADAL, that acts as a filter. That this technology could help Brian Johnson return to the stage. Well, Ambrose says he is a fan of Axl Rose, but he can't really imagine anybody but Johnson singing Back in Black. So he's hoping to solve Brian Johnson's hearing issues, and Brian Johnson's taking him up on it. As Ambrose recently said to ClassicRock.com, due to everyone's tremendous support, Brian and I spoke yesterday. What a gracious man. He has invited me to visit him next week, so this is going to be huge news. The band has said a little bit about it. They've been mostly mum about this whole situation. They did say they did not fire Brian Johnson. It seems like it to a lot of fans' eyes. But Clint Williams did say to an interview that he did have an instance where there was a marked drop in his ear, in that one good ear, and it came back but not completely. The doc said this can happen again, it may not come back. So this hearing thing could help out, because Ambrose says, if anyone deserves the benefit from my research, is Brian, who's been given incomparable performances for years, despite increased hearing loss. I'm going to do my utmost to see if our breakthroughs can help him. If I'm successful, I'm sure Brian will let everyone know. Please pray for our success next week when they meet up. So, hope for the best, man. Would love to see Brian come back and find a way to come back. And stuff. So, because HDC needs to die without Brian or continue with Brian, not with Axl Rose. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of fans. So, there you go. Now, on with the band that at least decided to retire when they had all the original members intact and not due to illness. I think that's why Motley Crue, I think, did the final tour. They didn't want to be like an AC/DC. You know, go on with, like, members gone and blah, 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 blah. That's why I think they had their final tour. And that tour was documented for their on-screen appearance happening on June the 14th. The End will air in theaters nationwide on that day, or worldwide, or was it nationwide? I don't know. It was, of course, taped at their final show, New Year's Eve, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. It was filmed by a lot of people. There was backstage stuff filmed by Jeff Tremaine. We've known about this release for a while. We've known about, this planned film of the concert to be released in theaters and also on DVD. But now they have a theatrical release date, like I said, June 14th. One night only, but it will be released on DVD at a later time, so hopefully we'll find out that soon. I saw him on the final tour last year in Detroit on my birthday, so it's all I got to see when I did. Again, it was my third time seeing him, so I was happy to see him. So there you go. Motley Crue set to have their final show air in the theaters on June 14th. Well, one band I saw last year retired. Another band, man I saw last year, came back from retirement, goes referring to Mr. Garth Brooks. Saw him last year in Detroit, day of his world tour. He was incredible. He was awesome. And now he's adding more another city to his ever-expanding tour. I didn't like the way he did it at first, but I do like the schedule now. He announces one city at a time. And every couple of weeks he announces a tour date, a new city. For most of the tour dates, mostly arenas for the most part. And now he announced his first stadium show of the tour. Yankee Stadium in New York City. New York City! It'll be July 9th, following his Las Vegas shows. Now, knowing Garth Brooks, I bet you'll add more shows. I would say maybe 2 or 3 more. I'd say at least 2 to 4 Yankee Stadium shows. Because at least it beats doing like 6 or 7 MSGs you could probably have done. But when your last show in New York was Central Park, it would be a disgrace and a downgrade to go from Central Park to like MSG. So you still need a big venue. And that's why I think Garth chose Yankee Stadium. So there you go. Garth Brooks, Yankee Stadium in July. I say at least 1 or 2 more shows will be added. Now speaking of additions, they added a second weekend to the big festival that is Desert Trip. I talked about it a little bit last Monday, that there was a lot of rumors about this festival happening, and it was confirmed last Tuesday that the Desert Trip Festival will take place with the Stones and Bob Dylan on Friday night, Saturday Paul McCartney and Neil Young, and Roger Waters and The Who on Sunday. 2 weekends on October 7th, 8th and 9th, and also the 16th through the 18th. Both weekends went on sale and sold out within 3 hours. Passes for both weekends. Then it went clean to less than 3 hours each, resulting in a box office gross that will likely reach $150 million. That has exceeded the initial estimates from several sources, including Billboard, of $100 million gross. As the overwhelming demand led organizers to increase the number of reserved seats available. There were 35,000 reserved seats, scaling at 1,500, 1,000, and $699, and 35,000 GA seats, priced at $399 per weekend. GA prices are priced the same as Coachella, that's produced by the same people that's putting on Desert Trip, Golden Voice. AEG live officials are officially releasing a statement about their thoughts on the success of the ticket sales, but the producers are ecstatic about the unqualified home run. The names, and like unlikely prospect of assembling them all together for 2 weekends, drove the trip to these heights. They deserve credit, both Golden Voice and AEG, for swinging the fences with this huge dream lineup that would have been good in 1975. But still, if they were all in their prime. But Paul's still in his prime. And the Stones are still in their prime, because I saw them last year in Detroit on their Zip Code tour. They were awesome. So there you go. 2 weekends of the Dream Rock Festival. Desert Trip goes on sale. Sold out within 3 hours. Selling $150 million. So that's awesome. Congrats to the promoters and the artists for that huge achievement. That is it for the Atakline for today. Thank you so much for watching. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the news from Zach. See you all later, everybody. Oh, yeah.